some of the potential problems and dangers that might face the Jewish community. So the very first day I was here, Rabbi POLLACK was actually the first person that came to my office and spoke with me, and he expressed some of his concerns, and I can tell you that I completely understood it right away and had a really great conversation. And I pledged to him and also pledged to the community that from the moment I got here, the Jewish community, some of the potential hate crimes, that they're going to be very important to me, and I'm going to work hard to make sure that the Jewish community is protected. And I can say that I believe that I've done that. Not everything's going to be perfect, and there's going to be some crimes here and there, but by and large, when you look at the major crimes, as Chief Blvd spoke about, we really don't have it in this community. And I think what it starts with is, number one, communication. The NYPD has a great intelligence community, a great intelligence, investigative tools and ways to gather intelligence, and that gets disseminated down to me, and then it gets disseminated to the community. I'm immediately on the phone talking with Rabbi POLLACK and some of my partners in the Jewish community, some of the rabbis I speak to on a daily basis, and we're talking about what we're going to be doing to protect you. Now, sometimes that intelligence is a little bit more severe than others. If you look back at initially when the conflict in Gaza started, and we saw some of the potential problems there, what you saw along our synagogues was fixed posts at almost all of the synagogues. They were there 24/7. They were outside, visible, getting out of the car, talking with people, because that's what we need to do. When we look at the holidays, maybe we don't see the level of threat that we did see earlier, but still, the holidays are important. You're going to see a house of worship auto at all of our synagogues, going around, doing what we call direct patrols, getting out of the car, making sure that everything looks okay. And if something's not right, they're calling me directly, they're calling my supervisors, and I'm relaying it to the community to get the word out there. So I think we have a good, policy, a good program in place, that the word gets out there and that we show support and that, the community feels safe. Now, we talk about hate crimes. By and large, we've done pretty well. Just looking at the stats for a year to date, we only have 2 confirmed hate crimes in the 102 precinct year to date. Now, we are down, but we are, keep in mind, we are facing 3 from last year. So, we're down approximately 33%. What is concerning, however, is those 2 that we see from this year are hate crimes against the Jewish community. Now, they're not the violent type. These are 2 incidences where we saw swastikas that were drawn on, the first one was in Forest Park, and it was on one of the nature trails of Forest Park. We don't know how long it's been there, but somebody walking their dog saw it, reported it, and we went out there, we took pictures, and we investigated it. The second one was actually inside Richmond Hill High School, where there was a swastika that was drawn on a chalkboard. When the students came back, actually a non-Jewish student came back, they saw it, but they felt the need, they knew it was a symbol of hate, and they reported it. Again, we went out there and took pictures and investigated it initially, and then reported to the Hate Crimes Task Force. Now, Chief Blvd spoke about some of the procedures and kind of how it gets reported and then investigated. I've made it a point that even the slightest hint that something is a possible hate crime or bias incident, it's going to get investigated by us. I don't care what it is. If somebody feels that it could be derogatory, or they feel that it could even possibly be hate-related, my team goes out, the detective squad goes out, I go out, we talk to the community, we find out what's going on, and then I personally do a report and refer it to Hate Crimes Task Force. Once Hate Crimes gets it, they will conduct an investigation. I'll let them talk about what is done in their world. But for us on the precinct, I can guarantee that every possible incident will get investigated and gets referred. So, I do think we have a good plan here, and we've done pretty well, like I've said. What I would like to just talk about, because I believe we have, most of the community from Kew Gardens in this location tonight. Let's look at overall crime. We talk about the hate crime, but overall crime in what we call our second Charlotte, which by and large is Kew Gardens. done pretty well overall as a command, as a precinct, but when you just look at Sector Charlie, we are down 15% for the year. We're at 86 crimes this year versus 101 last year. That's a change of 15 crimes and a reduction of 15%. In fact, the only area that we're seeing a little bit of an increase in is grand larcenies. These grand larcenies are really the scam type. This is the type where you get a call and they say, hey, your son's in jail, you need to pay money, or somebody intercepts your, a check in the mail and then washes it and then cashes it somewhere for a different amount. So we're not seeing maybe the violent crimes that you would see in other areas. Not to say that any increase is good, because it's not. But the crimes that we're seeing a little bit of increase in Sector Charlie and Kew Gardens are, some of those crimes that maybe are not as violent, and that's a good thing. Now, when you look at the last 28-day period, that's really how we measure things in the NYPD. We measure it on every 28 days. It tells you, gives you a real snapshot of what's going on recently. Last 28 days, Kew Gardens has seen a very big reduction in crime. We've had only 9 crimes versus 17 last year. So that's a reduction of 47.1% from what we saw last year. And looking at the sheet, I can tell you that every category we're down on. One of the things that we saw last year that was really driving our crime in Kew Gardens was grand larceny of autos, car thefts. Year to date, we are down 19 versus 25, and for the last 20 days, we've only had 1 car stolen in Kew Gardens. So, as a whole, I think we're doing pretty well. I think the hate crime is down, and my team is very aware of how important it is to me, and also the Boro and Chief Williams, and we're continuing to work hard at it. And I want to maintain that level of communication. Speaking with Rabbi Pollack, and always my door is always open in 102 Precinct. You're always welcome to come in and have a talk with me or express your concerns. So I look forward to hearing your questions, and I will turn it back over to Rabbi Pollack.
So, as you see, that everyone's sort of been deferring the hate crime, whether it's on a borough level, on a precinct level, and this evening we have the opportunity to hear from the hate crimes task force. Sergeant Jesse Ankele is here with his attorney, Nada, who's going to be speaking about the processes of hate crime and how it affects the Jewish community. So at this point, I'll ask you guys to come up so you can address us.
Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you, Chief, thank you, Inspector, especially for keeping our hate crimes down. We appreciate that. So my name is Sergeant Jesse Ankele. This is our agency attorney, Sahib Ananda, and we are from the Hate Crime Task Force, the NYPD. We're part of the Detective Bureau. I've been with the NYPD for about 23 years, and I consider it a distinct honor and privilege to be able to spend the twilight of my career doing something I find very personally meaningful, which is investigating hate crimes. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's very important work, and it really is an honor to serve in that capacity. A little bit about Nanda, because of the hate crime statute, there are a lot of nuances in how we assess hate crimes as it pertains to the law. And we found that even experts within the district attorney's office, our own legal experts in our legal bureau, which help us parse the legal details of cases, even among these lawyers, there is very little consensus oftentimes for what actually constitutes a hate crime. And that can make our job difficult. So even though our investigators have a lot of experience parsing out these details, we decided that we would use a federal grant to hire an attorney who specializes exclusively in hate crimes to help us analyze all these cases and make sure that we are providing the best possible case to our prosecuting attorneys in the 5 boroughs. So to that end, we have Nanda with us, and she helps us analyze all of these cases so that we can prosecute them as aggressively as possible. Now, our unit is based in the 7th Precinct. It's by the Williamsburg Bridge and the Lower East Side of Manhattan, but we do indeed cover the entire city. The entire city is our responsibility when it comes to hate crime. So whether it's a hate crime in Staten Island, whether it's a hate crime in Queens, we're going to be investigating. And as the chief so eloquently described the procedure earlier, an executive will make that assessment because we want our most experienced people. We want somebody at that rank, that high of a rank of a captain or above, to be put eyes on this possible bias incident and assess it in the most meticulous and complete way possible. That will then be referred to us, and we will begin our investigation immediately. Now, we operate as many other detective squads do across the city. Old-fashioned detective work, hitting the pavement, hitting the streets, asking questions, finding witnesses, finding video. But the nature of these crimes, the heinous nature of these crimes, the fact that they go to the very core of our identity, who we are as people, whether it's our religious beliefs, our ethnicity, whatever protected class that has been attacked, right? That is why we have gathered some of the best detectives in the entire city, right? All of our detectives, we have about 24 right now. They have all worked extensively. They're all very experienced. They've worked extensively in many different fields of investigation, from robberies to homicides. Many of them have come from the precinct detective squads. And they really are the best of the best. They take each and every case personally. They treat it as if that victim was a member of their own family, and they pour their heart and soul into those cases. So that's just something very important. I always like to stress when I'm talking to the community that we understand how important these cases are. Also, the chief mentioned a really good point earlier, is that although we are not technically part of the Intelligence Bureau, we maintain a very close partnership with them, so that anything that's going on overseas, any political events which we may think will impact our situation here at home, we continuously keep in close touch with our brothers and sisters over the Intelligence Bureau, and we work very closely together. On many cases, we actually work hand in hand. So that's another important thing to know. There really is no resource that we are not fully given access to in the department, right? The police department has a very, very extensive capability in terms of personnel, in terms of technology, and none of that is spared, right? From the mayor on down, he's made it very clear that that's a priority, that hate crimes are a clear priority. So that has been very helpful. We get everything we need, everything we ask for in terms of whenever we ask the various precincts across the city to up deployment to various houses of worship, they always do, and they're very good at it. Patrol Boro Queens especially, anything we need, they're always very receptive. Which brings me to the point that the precinct, aside, really our chief focus is investigating these cases, right? We react, crime happens, that's what the Detective Bureau does, we go out and investigate. But in terms of preventative measures, the precincts have been very effective, and I think we've seen that reflected in the statistics that the inspector was mentioning earlier. And the precincts are such a great resource, they really are. I think oftentimes people don't know the extent of the precinct's capability, from the commanding officer on down to the neighborhood coordination officers, also known as the NCOs. and community affairs officers and crime prevention. They're all accessible to come and help and do whatever needs to be done. Many of them are just a cell phone call away. As a former NCO sergeant in the 76th Precinct, I really appreciated how great that program was and how close it brings us to the community. In terms of what you folks can do to help us, the community, as I've been investigating these cases, it's really become clear to me that our secret weapon and our most potent weapon against these hate crimes is you all out there, our eyes and ears. Conscionable New Yorkers who witness horrible acts of hate, who are able to record them, who are able to send those recordings to us. We use that, we blast it out to the news media, and very often the neighbors of these people, the neighbors of these perpetrators that are committing these hate crimes, will call in, right? And that's one of the greatest resources we have. All of the surveillance technology we have, all of this, sophisticated technology we use to identify these perpetrators, it really is nothing compared to what you all out in the community do to help us. So it really is a team effort, and we're very grateful for all the help we've gotten in that arena. Very quickly, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what will constitute a hate crime. It applies to just about every normal crime can be upgraded to a hate crime, to put it in its most simple terms. But the hate crime statute it increases the level of severity by usually about 1 degree. So if you had a crime like a simple assault 3rd degree, which is a misdemeanor, it's an A misdemeanor when somebody gets injured from being punched or kicked or attacked in some way and sustains some physical injury. If we attach the hate crime statute to that charge, which is traditionally an A misdemeanor, it'll bump it up 1 degree to an E felony. So what otherwise would have been a misdemeanor, because we've attached that hate crime statute, it will now be a felony. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of the legal implications. And I think with that, maybe we'll turn it over to questions. All right, Rabbi, or if you have anything to add. Thank you, everybody.
Well, if we did, it'd be a secret, but no, but listen, when it comes to the world training, obviously we scour the world. I think we have the best training bureau of any law enforcement agency or facing this world. So any new exciting training we can go to.
Let me just share with you what happened in our synagogue. About a year and a half ago, we came in and saw that it was a TV gun or something like that. The front window was shattered, the entrance window was shattered. And there was a sense of violation. You know, the community felt, you couldn't, nobody knew anything, it just happened 3 o'clock in the morning. If you walk in, and you see, speed. So that's the kind of thing where it's nameless and faceless, but what do you do now? So I just want to share with you how the effect on that. And one last question: what's your conviction rate? How well do you do with that?
recommend a certain project, but they can say, hey, they want to put a camera here, they want to have a alarm here, some lighting here. So please, if you haven't done it, please avail yourself to the services of the crime prevention officer. The crime prevention officer is one of the supervisors.
Detective Cruz, he's,
So, please avail yourself to those services that we offer free of charge. So they'll come, they'll look at the premise, and they'll give you a report and recommendation on how to better to protect yourself.
And regarding the policy, as far as I know, I found every synagogue has some type of access control. I'm not sure if that's right. Regarding policy, does every synagogue have some type of positive access control? Do you know? Should, right? Just as questions, I make a statement, because I'm, as far as you know. Okay, just so you know, everyone has some type of positive access. Okay, that's good.
Synagogues here have been contributing to that investigation with that system. That you know, you just mentioned the detectives assigned to this. And I'm just wondering if the local synagogues have had that benefit. They had the assessment done. I can only speak to this one. It does not appear that we have that assessment in place. And it does not appear that we have potential barriers and protections.
you're talking about the security survey done by the crime prevention officer? Is that what-
Yes, I'm wondering if it's
Yeah, so first, when you talk about crime prevention officer, anytime that there's a crime like a burglary or robbery, is it a violation of your home, your place of business? My detective Cruz, crime prevention officer, he's mandated to go out, and I know for a fact that many of the local businesses, and I believe, Rabbi, there wasn't, we did recently have Detective Cruz came out and actually did a security survey on one of those synagogues, I believe, because we actually liaised with you to get a good time to come out and do it.
Right.
Do you remember which one specifically that
I
was?
think a lot of the times, though, that one of the issues we have is the timing of it, and that, what I suggested to them was to make an appointment
Right.
with the,
And he did come back. I know he did come back. Yeah, so there was, and forgive me if I don't have the exact synagogue, but at least one of the synagogues was a victim of crime, and my crime prevention officer came out. We actually spoke to Rabbi Bob about an appointment date to come out, and he came out and did conduct a serious security survey. Now, if any of the synagogues or locations in Long Precinct, whether it be a business or even somebody's home, would like the services of my detective to come out and do a survey, please reach out. I'm my department at the end of this presentation. Reach out to me. We can definitely get you scheduled for something like that. It's automatic when there's a crime in a location that he comes out. But if you'd just like him to come out and kind of have a look at, what he sees security-wise, we'll certainly do that. So, absolutely reach out to me afterwards and get you that contact information.
I just want to break for 1 minute. I apologize and we'll come back. We have with us a very distinguished panelist, Deputy Chief Richie Taylor. He was just coming from the mayor from Precinct, so he's a busy man, and we want to thank him. Richie is the commanding officer of the NYPD Community Affairs Outreach Division. That is the entire city. And if you're in government, you see him all the time. And he's, Richie's one of the good guys. He's somebody who the entire Jewish community depends on. And he's going to talk a little bit about the communications of and the outreach that he does.
Thank you very much for the power.
Thank you, really, for organizing this leadership and support. We have that partnership and it stays strong. We're very fortunate, very, very fortunate of Queens South, to have Boro Commander Chief Williams. We couldn't have a better chief at the helm of Queens South. I don't think Chief Williams would want any other position than to be the commanding officer of Queens South. He would want they say actions speak louder than words, and he's here tonight personally. He could have just sent an executive officer, he could have sent someone else, he could have sent Inspector Kevin, the police commander is also a tremendous leader in the command, but wanting to come himself to underscore just how important it is that people are safe and equally important to feel safe. Just shows how much heart and soul in Chief Williams in the communities of Queens South, Precinct of Queens South, a lot of diverse communities in Queens South, but of course we see the challenges, especially in the Jewish community. It's tough times in law enforcement, it's tough times in government. A lot of challenges coming from Washington, a lot of challenges coming from the state legislature. It's not a secret. We wish that, I just like Rabbi Pollack just said, I just left the mayor now from Gracie Mansion for an event, and it's just incredible on how we would hope that we'd have partners in government helping us, supporting us. And if they're not going to do that, at least be neutral, but to pass legislation that hurts public safety, pass legislation that hinders what we want to do for the community, we don't get it. The mayor doesn't get it. I don't get it. I know that we see so many challenges that there's no words, but your police officers fighting a good fight every day, making sure that we're out here to acknowledge Sergeant Singh, Community Affairs, thank you Sergeant Singh for your leadership in Community Affairs in Queens South, always being out here. Police officer Edelman, thank you very much for your work. It's a great partnership. I know Shopsy and Shmira, Queen Shmira, the work that you do. We've been doing so many events together, especially the large events. It's a Hill gatherings we did after October 7th, just tremendous. With you and your team, and working with the police department, working with Chief Williams, Inspector KIVLIN. It's just tremendous across Queens South. We talked to acknowledge, of course, Sheila Reichman, Queens Hansala. I know I was with you even yesterday. I was in Queens. This is not my first time. This is my second time in Queens as many days. We were together last night for a beautiful event for Hansala. The work that you do is recognized. The mayor calls himself an honorary Hansala member. And that is because of the reputation Hansala has. It's because of when he sees the work that's done. It's just the partnership that we can rely on an organization like that. It's nothing short of a miracle on how we have members that drop everything at 3 in the morning on a frigid winter night. They'll leave their warm beds and go out to a medical emergency for a stranger. It's nothing short of a miracle that we have that going on flawlessly with the operation. So thank you, Sheila, for you and your team. We just had the Israeli parade down 5th Avenue. It's about a week and a half ago or so. And 2 weeks ago, now, a lot of people asked me, is it a good idea to have it? He said, full of protests going on, discord, threats. They said, maybe let this one go. They mentioned that to me, mentioned that to the mayor. They said, maybe let this one go. How can you do it? They would say, how can you do it? How can you let this happen? And our answer was, how can we not? How can we not be there to protect good people in the city who want to celebrate something that's been celebrated for over 50 years? It's about that partnership. It's the many different communities coming together that understand that an attack on one community is really an attack on every community. It's making sure that we have that partnership across the city. It's what we're doing tonight, Rabbi Pollack, real leadership, and how you gather everyone here. It's what you're doing right here, right now. Come out. You have the chief himself, Queens South, Chief Williams, who's hearing the concerns, who's addressing the concerns. You have that relationship. It's remarkable. I believe this is a role model for the entire country of what's going on here. Every police department should take note of what it means to have that community partnership. It's just something that we should never take for granted. It's something that we shouldn't say, okay, here was a meeting, Chief Williams was here, Inspector KIVLIN, the commanding officer was here, and okay. But if we just take a moment to really appreciate what is going on here, how fortunate we are to live in a city where we have this dialogue, the relationships we have. It's just something that I believe is not taken for granted. That if there's a problem on your block, the community, the shul, you have a Sefer Torah coming up. I was just in Queens a couple of weeks ago. I know Chief Williams was out there as well for the fires for one home there. you know, the planning that went into that. I was at 4 locations myself, pretty much very close to here. It's a lot that goes into it, but the community gets a lot out of it. So I encourage everyone, keep coming out. I know it takes a lot. I know everyone's out here, you have families at home, you have other things, you know, going on. The fact that you made time here to come out just shows that you care, and we're here to meet you. We're here to address whatever is going on as much as we can. And it's just something personal. I used to live in Queens. I was a cell member in Queens. Love Queens. And it's something personal to me, you know, I see something like this. You know, my colleague called me up and to have this. It's something that just tremendous. And I don't take it for granted. I appreciate the deep, true meaning of the foundation of what is built and how this continues to grow. And I'll be here for the duration of the meetings. Thank you very much.
I would be remiss. I just want to again acknowledge and thank the Kew Garden Synagogue and its leadership. I want to specifically thank the Presidium, Marcaris, and Gregory Binkowitz for the cooperation and assistance. I want to thank Oscar and his team for helping out, and Raquel. The Kew Garden Synagogue is so important to our community because it is central to everybody. And the fact that we're able to convene this meeting is really due to the efforts of the synagogue, the rabbi, Rabbi Tenenbaum, and obviously the board members and this following. So I just want to personally thank everybody from the big shul for helping us bring us together. Frank, I think you had a question? No, you sure? All right, Donnie.
First of all, thanks for coming down. We appreciate it. Also, want to thank you when we see the man cars up front. We feel secure coming out on the streets, and we appreciate when there's a major event such as the parade, which is you're prepared for this happening. My concern is the other side. I'm scared. I'm scared of the city. I'm scared people on a train. When I can see somebody on a train saying, all Zionists, you better get off now. Okay, I didn't get on that train. I'm scared when I see at the Nova exhibit that they're coming out with red flares and green flares and screaming death to Israel, death to America. I was at the Nova exhibit last week. It's a small street. I wasn't there at the riot, rally, protest, whatever you want to call it. But I'll tell you, what I spread news scared the hell out of me had I been on that street. Okay? That's a scary situation. Now, last night there was a protest at Rent Control, and 11 people were arrested. There was no violence. These women, okay, short women, were put in their hands behind their back to be strapped with those handcuffs. 11 arrests were made. At the Nova rally last week, 3 arrests were made for fair bidding. Not for violence, not for yelling, not for screaming, not for preventing people from going into buildings. They were arrested for fair bidding. I don't imagine they were let go that same fair bidding. But I don't call that a hate crime. What's so difficult with calling that a hate crime? I'm scared when you go to the president of Brooklyn Museum has the red triangle painted on the doors, which indicates we're out to kill you. Is that a hate crime, or is there a thin line we just don't know?
It's being investigated.
I know it's being investigated.
As
But we don't hear anything about what the outcome is. And they don't see the deterrence to know that they can't come and block up a road with flares and violence because they're not going to get their heads beaten. There's no deterrence. You can do what you want. You can lock up the president of Cal University from the shelter until 1 o'clock in the morning. You won't even admit that she was kidnapped and held in hostage until 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry, where are the cops? Where are they coming and beating them on the head saying, you can't do this? This is America. You have a right to protest, but you can't hold people kidnapped. You can't go on a train and say, let's go
excellent points, excellent concerns, excellent. I'll go through it one by one. Just want to acknowledge Sergeant Jesse Angle from the Hate Crime Task Force. You have the right guy in the right position at the right time, the right supervisor of the team in the Hate Crime Task Force. We only get the best of the best to go into specialized units in the Detective Bureau. For example, Hate Crime Task Force, Major Case Squad. So the Hate Crime Task Force are detectives that have already proved themselves in investigative roles to be effective, to make arrests, and you have truly the best of the best in the Hate Crime Task Force. Again, these are detectives that already proved themselves, and we call them numbered precinct squads, like the first precinct, 107 precinct detective squad. We'll find the best of the best in those precinct squads, and those are the ones that generally go to the Hate Crime Task Force. So we're very fortunate to have really the best of the best. This is the chief detective. So one moment about your case, we'll get an update. Yeah, okay, so that was the chief detective. So as you were speaking about the concerns, I called three-star chiefs of deputy commissioners, if you will. I called the deputy commissioner of legal matters, Michael Gerber. He's the three-star deputy commissioner of legal matters. When that incident occurred on the train, where that person said, any Zionist on the train, or in some substance, he said, any Zionist on the train, raise your hand, get off the train. I was very concerned about that. And I said, there is a fine line between freedom of speech and hate speech that's a crime. The mayor says the best. The mayor says that as a police department, as a city, we'll always protect freedom of speech. But hate speech is not welcome in New York City. That's what the mayor says. The mayor means it. As much as the mayor says that hate speech is not welcome in New York City, according to the First Amendment to the Constitution, hate speech is generally protected speech. If someone says the Jews should die, that's protected speech under the First Amendment to the Constitution 100%. When I saw that video though, I said that doesn't sit right with me. I believe that person crossed the line and no longer is a freedom of speech. I believe now there's a crime. Just like, for example, you're not allowed to yell that there's a fire in a crowded movie theater. That's the classic Supreme Court case about freedom of speech. The Supreme Court ruled that that's illegal. If someone yells fire in a crowded movie theater, it's endangering people. People are going to have a stampede outside. People will get injured. And the person who did that will be held liable for whatever crime was committed. And that speech is not protected. So I said that should not be protected either. So I called the Deputy Commissioner of Legal Matters, and I sent him the video, and he discussed it with his team, and he got back to me that the Legal Bureau of the NYPD believed that that was a crime. Him saying that statement, we're not going to allow that, and that person is being sought for the crime of attempted coercion in the second degree. Once we locate that person, we will charge him with that, and we hope that from there, the criminal justice system will be as effective as it was made to be. So we are not going to let that go. We have an open investigation on that individual, and we hope to make that arrest very soon. Unfortunately, because of, as everyone knows, the sexual crime in the park, actually, in Queens here, we've deployed tremendous amount of resources, community affairs, Sergeant Singh, Officer Edelman, Tommy Galina. We've deployed Chief Williamson on it. We've deployed a tremendous amount of resources to that crime scene. Thank God we made an arrest for early this morning. But we have put out an alert to have that person arrested. I also spoke to Chief Michael Kemper just now. He's the Chief of Transit. See if he had any update on that. I know that his transit police officers will be working on that very well. And just as I was speaking to you, the Chief Detectives is going to be back, Chief Joe Kenny, and they are getting those wanted posters out. They are getting information out. Again, we always like to make arrests without the community if we can. We don't want to tip off someone looking for them if we don't have to. We want to see if we can just arrest them quickly. But many times we need the community's help. So here, they'll make a decision shortly about a wanted poster going out, and we hope to have that person into custody. And that is a very important case. It's not just about that one person being arrested, but it's sending a message to the entire city that someone go to the train and feels they can do that and get away with it is gravely mistaken. Again, we determined, as a police department, we determined it's a crime. I was very serious about that. I did have it just before Erev Yom Tov, I believe right before Shavuos, I believe, if I'm right, very quick Shabbos. And I worked on that very fast. And again, going to the NYPD Legal Bureau, that was a crime. That person should not have said that. It's attempted coercion in the second degree, which doesn't have to be witnessed. Also, there's different levels of crime, criminal activity versus harassment, which may be more of a violation that has to be witnessed by a police officer in order for us to make an arrest. Here, we believe it's an actual crime. We hope to have an arrest very soon, and then we just hope that the criminal justice system takes its place. What you said about Nova, I was at the Nova Festival, they do call it Nova Festival. I was at the Nova Festival the first day it opened with the mayor. The mayor's been there at least 2 times by Wall Street. What you saw there, in our opinion, is horrific. We saw some criminal activity there as well. The person who lit the flares, we made 1 arrest. At that time, we made 1 arrest for, I believe, reckless endangerment with that flare. I believe we have a couple of other suspects that we're looking at to make arrests also for the same thing. In this country, what makes our country great is the right to freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. The First Amendment protects that. Freedom of the press, right, Chopsy?
Don't need permits to protest?
So the answer is no. The First Amendment to the Constitution allows the freedom of assembly. However, if you block vehicular or pedestrian traffic, that's what permits needed. At that location, the way they did it, again, we don't agree perhaps with what they would say. If it was hate speech, the mayor says hate speech is not welcome in New York City, but it's still legal. What they did there, we believe, is not welcome in New York City. But again, you have to protect the Constitution, protect the First Amendment. If they're not blocking vehicular or pedestrian traffic, which they really weren't, you do not need a permit to assemble in New York City, to demonstrate in New York City, again, unless you're going to block vehicular traffic, pedestrian flow of traffic, unless you're going to use a bullhorn, any amplified device. I know Chief Williams does this all the time. It's like the KIVLIN or hate crime task force. They investigate, we have issues like this, but hate speech, the mere fact, and it's not a mere fact, but according to the Constitution, the mere fact of hate speech, someone saying that the Jews should die or someone should die, would be protected speech under the Constitution, unless something else occurs after that, meaning that if someone points, if protesters point to a Jewish person, it says, let's all go and beat that Jewish person up, and then, that now may be a crime. I say may be a crime, then what happens after that? But freedom of speech is alive and well in this country, and many, many times, what we believe would be criminal based upon speech is not. The old expression is, it sounds awful, but it's lawful. And again, the mayor has been a fierce proponent, a fierce advocate, for anti-Semitism. You remember the mayor went to meet with the Pope just about a month and a half ago or so in Rome, and the mayor, to the Pope, the mayor brought up anti-Semitism. It's amazing, because he sees the concern. He sees it's on the rise here. But we're working very hard to acknowledge again Sergeant Jesse Ankle from the Hate Crime Task Force is busy. The Hate Crime Task Force is busy around the clock. Most hate crimes they take is anti-Semitic crimes, so if you went over it, hate crimes in the category of anti-Jewish crimes lead the categories of everything. So it's recognized, we're doing everything we can. Many times though, it's either a very young person who commits the crime against a Jewish person or a Jewish community, or it's someone who's emotionally disturbed. Not that it means anything less to the community. There's a swastika on a synagogue that was done by someone who's unfortunately mentally unstable. It really doesn't take away from the fact what that swastika means, especially the Holocaust survivors. But at least we don't see, generally, we don't see the targeted attacks against the Jewish community from the organized groups. We don't see like the KKK, if you will, and the organized people meeting in basements, saying, okay, we're going to attack shuls like this. We did have something, remember, about a year and a half ago or so, we did have something, we had a credible threat to the Jewish community in New York City about a year and a half ago on a Friday night. There were 2 people from Suffolk County. They made statements they were going to obtain a firearm and shoot up a synagogue that next morning, the Saturday morning. They were members of that. I know we spoke with Gonzalo, we did a lot of work, but thank God our partners with the MTA police made 2 arrests. I believe it was Penn Station at about 10:30 at night, Friday night, and recovered from that arrest was loaded black firearm. It was an armband with swastika. There were other things of concern, rope. So we know the threat is there. But everyone here tonight, you're taking action with us. one thing I should just mention, the phone number for the Counterterrorism Bureau, our NYPD counterterrorism tip line is 1-888-NYC-SAFE. If anyone sees something suspicious, someone taking a picture of a synagogue, a car going around the block, a strange package by a synagogue. A lot of times people are afraid to call 911 when they feel that they're bothering us, but they're not bothering us. I always call 911 if something suspicious. Error of caution. But as much as I say it, as much as William says it, it doesn't matter. People are still going to be hesitant to call 911 for something suspicious, perhaps. So we have a tip line. It's a toll-free number, 1-888-NYC-SAFE. If you see something suspicious, call that number. It goes right to our NYPD Counterterrorism Bureau. Give that information over to your congregations, give it to the schools, let people know about it, that when they see something suspicious, to utilize that great resource. Did I answer your concerns? I know it's tough.
You talk about individual cases, and I'm talking about this individual of we feel we're being attacked, and I heard Mayor Anderson this will not be tolerated, but people telling us it will be tolerated because it didn't break the law. So when he makes, after speaking that these kind of things won't be tolerated, what is he doing? He will tolerate those protests.
The mayor says that hate speech is not welcome in New York City, but he can't violate the Constitution and have us arrested for hate
The
speech.
message you're trying to get across to us that something will be done. And the message you're trying to get to us is that your hands are tied and there's only so much.
Depends for what? That subway system incident where the guy said it, Zionist here, raised their hand.
No, it's a terrifying thing. If you were on that street, it would have been a random number. Okay?
Well, that's why I right away called the chief of transit and I called the deputy commissioner of legal matters and I said, what can we do here? And the answer back to me pretty quickly, within an hour or so, was we can make an arrest here. And once that happens, hopefully make an arrest soon, that will resonate. You should give back the media, Shopsy, we'll ask you to make sure you push that out, and that will start setting the tone. People should know that that incident occurred and a person was arrested for that. Even if a person's not arrested right away, when we get the wanted poster out, when we get the information this person is being sought to be arrested for that statement, that hopefully sends a clear message that that was illegal and it's not going to be tolerated. The ship has been going, in some ways, the ship has been going in a certain direction in this city, in this state, for a while, in a certain direction. We're getting the ship turned around. You have a big ship in the ocean. It's not just easy to turn around on a 180-degree angle. But I think that alone is going to start helping the ship get turned around in the right direction. That's just one example. But again, the Hate Crime Task Force, their clearance rate for arrests is
About 90%.
that means 9 out of 10 people who commit a hate crime are arrested for that. We've had
Was there a arrest at the Brooklyn Museum?
the Brooklyn Museum for the graffiti. For the graffiti.
Yeah, not on the museum, on the president's house.
That's graffiti.
Yeah.
So we're in progress.
It's in progress.
But the fact that we're taking it seriously and sorting to make arrests, again, 9 out of 10 people who commit a hate crime are arrested for it. I think we have a better clearance rate, we have a better arrest rate for hate crimes than maybe any other people in the country. I would think so. To me, or Chief Williams, or like, you talk about
I just want to, first of all, just